Okay, in today's class, we're going to look at three models in particular: should, had better, and have to. We're going to look at the difference between the three models for introspection. So by introspection, we mean I should, I had better, or I have to. And how these three models specifically are used to motivate us into taking action. So, first of all, what do we mean by these models? Well, our models they come between the subject and the verb. So I should write, I had better write, or I have to write. So what they do is they change the relationship between the subject and the verb. They change the feeling that we have. Our models reflect how we feel in the present about the idea of the future. We looked at this in a past class. There is no such thing as future grammar. Our verbs are do, did, and done. Do represents the present, which represents the future. Everything you do today will be done tomorrow. What you do now in your routine is what you do consistently. And so if we live in the now, we live in the present, then we need not worry about the future. Did, of course, is our storytelling, both true and false, about the past. It's our narrative. Done is how we change a verb to suit many problems, most of them in the past. How we describe the past without time, how we measure our commitment to things that are true today, various things, but they're all a different class. Looking at models, though, our models are how we create the idea of a future in our mind. The future is abstract, it's not real. There only ever is now. There is only a present. There is no such thing as a future. But I can create the idea of a future in my mind and how I feel about it, and I can transfer that to you in the same way a computer will code, for example, a JPEG with one set of binary rules, or a GIF, yes, a GIF, not a fucking GIF, a GIF with another set of binary rules. And when I send it from my computer to your computer is able to understand that binary coding and then create that image that I sent. Well, that's all language is. It's just the right use of structure and coding so that the idea in my head and the feeling that comes with it, I transfer it from me to you, and you understand exactly how I think and feel. Sounds easy. In fact, it's virtually fucking impossible. And we'll look at that in episodes, Jesus Christ, in classes, episodes, where we look at, for example, the difference between should, I should, and you should, and how when I express something to me, this problem I call OTAG, which is a Portuguese for gato. Between you and I, there's a glass mirror, or a glass window, and when I write the word gato, cat, you read OTAG. And this is one of the fundamental problem of communication, is the language that is semantically sacred to me in how I quietly understand the world. Remember, there is an objective world and there is the subjective world that you put inside of it. You spend more of your time in a subjective delusion than you do inside an objective world. That's unfortunate to hear, but it's very true. There's a massive difference between what is occurring objectively around you and how you perceive that or how you relate that. And your language is an example of that. So when I choose words to describe my subjective world and I give them to you, well, those words have a different subjective meaning, a different semantic meaning inside your mind. And so you might get offended, you will get confused, you might get angry, you might even agree with me. But guaranteed you won't see my picture the way I see it with the clarity and the way I feel it. It's near impossible. So what are we looking at with should, had better, and have to? Why are we even bothering with this class? Well, I'm trying to fucking fix up a problem in the book I'm writing. So I figure this class will put me in the right headspace to solve a problem that I couldn't solve the day before. So with should, let's look at a simple sentence here. I should start my book. All right, so we'll pull it down. We have our subject, of course. We have our verb. And we have our object. That's it. My 1, 2, 3. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that's important in our sentence, is there is some protagonist who is manipulating an object. And remember, just to review, your protagonist, your subject of the sentence, I, he, she, you, they, it, we, the protagonist can only ever be the hero or the villain. The doer of the action is either helping or hindering. That's it. There's no more magic, there's no more anything. The object of the sentence, the person receiving that kind of attention, is the victim, always. So you only have these three protagonists, or these three characters in any story or any sentence: the hero, the villain, or the victim. So today we look at introspection. You know, when something goes right in your life and you are the doer of the action, well, you say, you know, I am the hero. Look what I did. I'm fantastic. More often, we tend to focus on the mistakes, and we dwell on those mistakes. You know, we linger over them. We ruminate over our mistakes. And so when we believe that we are the doer of that action, well, we're the villain. What the fuck did I do? For fuck's sake. I'm always fucking doing this. God damn it. We are the joker in that sentence. Or let's say that you don't want to be the villain. You want to be the victim. So now, instead of what the fuck did I do, it's what the fuck? This is so unfair. This is always happening to me. This is an unfair and unjust world. I can't believe this. This is fucked. This is, no. And they're the only two characters when we look at our failures in introspection. Either you're the villain or you're the victim. In truth, you're neither the villain nor the victim. But your ego, for you to make a change in your life, is going to try and propose one of these kind of characters, one of these masks for you to wear inside the theater of your own worst self. So, how does that relate to should, had better, and have to? And why these colors? Well, should is the color purple. So I'll make these here. Why is should the color purple? Especially I should. I should reflects shame. This is, imagine starting the book is something that we can say I want to do, I need to do, I must do, or inevitably will be done. But I'm sitting on the sofa, on the edge of my sofa, and I'm like, fuck, I should start. I should. And what am I doing? This should allows me to feel shame, vergogna. I'm trying to provoke myself into action through shame. Yeah, you're making yourself feel terrible. You're a piece of shit. You know what you should be doing, but you're not. And that's what you're doing. You're sitting on the sofa and you're lamenting in your head over and over and over, that rumination, just continuing, I should. But guess what? At the end of the day, you didn't start. Just like yesterday, just like the day before, just like 6 months before that. This art of procrastination, it's entirely this. You just can't take the first step. That's it. And so you're trying to provoke yourself into action through these negative emotions. So when shame doesn't work, what do you do next? Well, you say, fuck, I'd better start my book. All right, so what does this mean then when I say I had better start my book? Well, oh no, I don't want that color. Give me a fucking orange. Do we have an orange? Hey, we have an orange. All right, so I'd better. I remember look, everyone's had this when you're a kid, especially growing up in Ireland in the 80s and Australia in the 90s. Your dad would always tell you, you'd better clean your room or else. Oh shit. And it would sound like this, you'd better clean your room or else. As a 9-year-old kid, you would imagine the fucking worst. You'd imagine mom packing up her bags and just leaving. And you'd be fucking, Jesus fucking Christ. You'd be cleaning your room like a mad mom, go. Your mom's just looking like, what the fuck is wrong with this boy? And that was it. What was your father doing? What was my father doing? What do we do to ourselves when we say, oh man, I'd better clean it. I'd better start my book. I'd better. We can represent I had better with an if condition, which means if you don't start your book, something terrible will happen. Okay, so what are we doing here? And why do we do this to a child, to a kid, to make them clean their room? Because ideally they won't do it on their own. And why do we do this to ourselves? Well, I had better, if I should is shame, I had better is a threat. It's a straight out threat. Fuck, I'd better do it. I'd better. You're trying to threaten yourself. You're trying to scare yourself into action. You know, your first attempt is to shame yourself. That's kind of like, it is. It's soft. It's kind of like love in a way. Come on, man. You're better than that. You're trying to shame someone. Well, that doesn't work. You get stoic. You try to scare yourself into action. I'd better do it. Yeah. I'd better. There's, in your shadow behind you, there's some outcome that's horrific and horrible. You don't know what it is, but it's the worst thing in the world if you don't start this book. Guess what? The end of that day came and you fucking did nothing at all either. So then you get to this point here. I have to start the book. And when we think, well, what is have to? Well, your answer to this will be obligation. And I say, fuck that. Same thing in Portuguese, obrigação. No, tenho que isn't obrigação. Let me ask you this. What's the difference between a kid and an adult? And no, the difference between a kid and an adult is not responsibility. Kids have responsibilities. Everyone has fucking responsibilities. And depending on the way that you're raised, those responsibilities when you're a kid are just as daunting as when you're an adult. No. It's also not that an adult can do what they want to do. That's not true. If that was the case, we wouldn't be here at step one. No, there are hundreds of thousands of things that you want to do, you know you can do, you're capable of doing. But for whatever reason, you can't do it, or at least you believe you can't. And for that reason, you won't. You'll sit there in your head feeling terrible because you know all it takes is just starting something and you will follow it all the way through, but you don't. So we know people can't do what they want to do. They're people. People are fucking insane. Their brains are filled with doubt, insecurity, worry. The older you get, it just gets far more horrific. It's complex. An adult can't do what they want to do. So what is the difference between a kid and an adult? Well, an adult can say no. That's the only difference, is that an adult can choose not to do the things they know are right and better for them. That's it. The kid and the adult will both eat the ice cream all day long. They'll both play with hand grenades and fizzy candy as long as they can. But the kid has to go to the dentist. The kid has to learn piano. The kid has to do these things. The adult, no. In fact, if you try to remember what it was like turning 18, the freedom you had was to say no. That was it. So it was, if you had to repair your car, you can just put it off for another week. Go to a dentist, put it off for another week. Study a post-grad, put it off for another year. Let's just enjoy our money now, spend our money and have some fun. So the only difference there is a kid and an adult. The saying no, it's like when people like to say that if they could be any animal, they would be a bird, because a bird has wings and it can go where it wants. No, it can't. The bird's wings are its prison. The bird sits in the tree up high. It's weak. It's dangerous. Why? Well, because the food that the bird eats is on the ground. So the bird flies down to the ground, and it can't grab its food like any other animal can pick at it and scratch it and kill it. No, the bird has to pick its food with its beak. And to do that, it has to bury its face in the ground, instantly becoming a victim. Predators sneak up behind it. A sneaky little cat comes and bites its head off. The bird has wings, but it doesn't have fists or nails. It can't scratch to defend itself. It can't punch its way out of a problem. Its wings are the one thing that keeps it a prisoner. The bird can't fly where it wants. It lives it feeds close to where it roosts. Every bird does. And so that's like an adult. Your ability to make any choice you want is not your freedom. Your freedom is actually saying no. Okay, so what does have to mean in that context then? When we say a child has to play piano, has to do this, well, every skill you have today as an adult was a skill you learned as a child. Now you want to learn English. It's fucking hard as an adult, right? Yeah, because a child's brain is malleable. What does that mean? It means that a child's brain is like Play-Doh, massinha. Brand new Play-Doh. It's colorful, it smells fantastic, and you can mold it into any shape you want. Once you get over 30, your brain starts to look like Play-Doh that's been left in the sun for 2 weeks. It's dry, it crackles, it breaks off, and you got to put a lot of physical effort just to try and mold it into the most basic forms. And it's all smelly and it doesn't look as pretty. It's harder to learn things when you're older. All those skills we have them because when we're a kid, we have to. And so what does have to mean? Have to doesn't mean obligation. Have to means you have no choice. That's what have to means. And that feels like something. It does. And so what does you have no choice means? You have no choice means it doesn't matter how you feel. Yeah. Let's say a child has to get a vaccine. The child says, I don't want the vaccine. The mom says, oh, shut up. Lift your shirt up and get the vaccine. The child's like, but I don't want to. What's in the vaccine? The mom's like, oh, stop it. You have to get it. How you feel doesn't matter. You're going to get the vaccine, no matter if you feel excited, scared, angry, bitter, victimized, confused, excited. Doesn't matter. You're getting the vaccine. How you feel does not matter. Well, the adult gets to say no. They go to the street with big signs saying, no to vaccines, no to vaccines, no to vaccines. Inevitably, they get the vaccine. Have to, that's what it means. It doesn't matter how you feel. So let's come back up here then. When I say, man, I should start my book. I really should. I mean, fuck, I'm a piece of shit. Here I am drinking out of a unicorn cup and I'm not even fucking writing. What am I doing? I mean, this class, I'm here recording this class. This is just me fucking not doing the things that I know I should do. Pretending that I'm doing something good for these internet people, when in reality, I should be sitting here fucking writing my book. What the fuck is wrong with me? Jesus Christ, kid. Then I get to had better. Yeah, I better do it. Oh, fuck, I better do it today. I better start today. Okay. And I might even marry that with I will. And I will is what? It's not the future. I will is an empty promise for the future. So, had better didn't work. Shame didn't work. And then we get to this. Look, I have to start the book. I have to. And so what I have to tells me is that it doesn't matter how I feel. I don't have to feel ashamed. I don't have to feel threatened. I don't have to feel excited. I don't have to feel worried. I don't have to feel proud or virtuous. I don't have to feel anything lucky. I don't have to feel grateful because I have to. I have no choice. How I feel doesn't matter. And so, all right, I have to start the book. So what do? I just turn off all my emotions and take that first process, that first step. And why are adults exactly like kids? Well, because let's say it's going to a dentist. You keep procrastinating and putting it off. And you're putting the procrastination, it's just you believing that you have to feel something about something to do something. I do this with writing. I sat for the last 3 months. I finished my last book in, October last year. I published it in December. No, I finished in November. I published it in December. And between January and March, I sat on the edge of my sofa like a piece of shit, knowing that I'm supposed to write the next book. But I sat in my head, just unwilling to open up the page, thinking I had to be inspired to write that book. Not realizing when I open up a blank page and I start writing, that's when I get inspired. You get inspired through action. You don't get action through inspiration. If you sit on the sofa, you're going to feel fucking miserable because you're going to go through all these fucking emotions. You're going to say the I shoulds, I could haves, I fucking all of these, and you're going to feel terrible. And you're waiting for that one emotion that throws you up in the air and you go in and you start that process. No, we get inspired through processes. We get happy through action. And so the same thing with like going to a dentist or whatever it might be. As an adult, as soon as you start that process, as soon as you call up that dentist and say, hey, listen, can I make a booking for tomorrow? That's it. You do everything other people are expecting you to do. You're brilliant. You're like a child. You're reactive. When someone asks you to do something, you do it. But when you ask yourself to do something, you sit there wondering how you feel about it. Very fucking different. How you feel doesn't matter. That sounds like a fucking terrible thing to hear, but that's liberation. That means you can turn off your mind, be more stoic, be in the present. It doesn't matter about emotions, feelings, fear, or all those things. Once you start that process and once you end that process, you will always be better for it. Always. How you feel doesn't fucking matter. Sorry, I shouldn't have said matter. How you feel doesn't matter. And so that's it. Those 3 models. I don't know if I had more to say in this class. I think there was a point to this class. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the end of that. But that's it. I should. And this is like, once we change our subject, you, he, she, or they, the way we feel about it changes as well. We know he and she, because I'm talking to you, is when I'm being, we're just doing gossip, right? We're talking about other people, and we're trying to make ourselves feel better by showing out how other people are failing in their lives. When I say you, I'm trying to inspire you into action. And so the nature of the models changes. And we'll look at that in future classes. Here, I'm only choosing these 3 models itself. Should, had, better, and have to. Introspective models for motivation. Because when we are thinking I to ourselves, we're only ever trying to motivate ourselves to do one thing. As soon as we get the fucking motor of that lawnmower started, we'll get the lawn clean. We're brilliant. We are. As humans, we're very simplistic. And we are like children. As soon as a process starts, we follow it all the way through. We're reactive, we're obedient, and we're good. But we just can't do it for ourselves. And we can't make that decision. Because from the ages of 0 until 18, you didn't take that first step. It was done for you by your mom and dad. You got a meeting tomorrow. You got an appointment on Friday. You got this, you got that, you got this, you got that. That's how our brains were educated. In that, those first steps were presented for us, and all we had to do was follow them all the way through. Your liberation and freedom, your wings, was not that you can stay out all night and partying. It's that you didn't have to go home at 10. You were able to say no. You were able to procrastinate those things that are important for you, those things that are better for you, those things that you will eventually end up doing, but at a time that is less convenient than if you were just able to start it right at the fucking beginning. Because that's what being an adult is. It's being a kid, except having that freedom to say no. That's it. All right, guys, that was I don't know what the fuck that was. That was a class. As always, love the people who love you. Everybody else is just a piece of shit. And I'll see you next week for another class. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to record as well a book. One of my fables today, so that might appear next week, depending on everything. And then I am going to go in and try to fix this thing I wrote yesterday, which is not working and it's driving me fucking crazy. And I apologize for saying the word fuck, but I'm Irish Australian, and it's part of our national heritage in both countries, principally Ireland, that we use the word fuck in the same way you use vowels. So thank you very much. All right, guys, I'll see you next video.